Hi everyone, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is the weekend, Sunday, October 29th. This, of course, is the weekend video. We'll go through what happened last week and then we'll take a look ahead, see what we got coming up in the middle of earnings seasons here. So let's get down to it. All right, so starting out, let's take a look at what happened last week. You can see all the markets took a big hit, down more than 2%, pretty much across the board. There were some good earnings and there were some bad earnings, so sort of the good and the bad there. PCE, which was the price index, PCE price index, which is what the Fed usually watches as their gauge of inflation, was ticked back up unexpectedly, actually, and just showed consumers just continuing to spend. And it seems like they're dipping into their savings or just adding to debt, but they are continuing to be strong and making it difficult for inflation to come down. The U.S. economy, again, also indicating that it's strong with that much higher than expected GDP number that came out. So we've still got this ongoing global situation, which is causing some concern, and the high interest rates, which don't seem to be in the cards to come down anytime soon. It just seems like it's going to be high for longer, not necessarily higher, but high. And again, you can see the index is all down to 2.5% on the week, based on all those concerns. Utilities, this was the only green sector in the week, just marginally green. The rest of the sectors were all in the red. The biggest losers on the week: communication services and energy sector, another big loser. Exxon and Chevron reporting on Friday, and not great numbers coming out of those two companies. So energy down on the week. 2-year Treasury came down a bit from previous week. You can see 5.01 compared to 5.07, and the 10-year was down just a fraction as well. So maybe a little bit of coming off there on the pressure on the yields. U.S. dollar was up again. Again, U.S. dollar strength during, especially during global uncertainty. And Bitcoin, really, I mean, it really took off, breaking out through a sort of some key levels of that had been resistance, and now we're up pressing near 34,000 again here. So that was the week in review, and it was pretty ugly for the bulls. All right, before we get into looking at some charts here, as usual, we'll just take a quick break to take a plug for my book on Amazon. This one's Profiting as an Active Trader. I do have 2 books there: How to Swing Trade, and this one, Guide to Money Management Rules, Strategies, and the Routines of an Active Stock and Option Trader on this one. So if you want to check it out, it's there on Amazon. So having said that, let's get down and look at some charts here. And as always, like to start with the treasuries. You can see here, really just, again, week over week, we're just flatlining, seem to be just under 5% now on the 2-year, just holding steady there. Looking for maybe a little bit of a drop. And the 10-year, we're still in an uptrend, as you can see here on the week, but we were down on the week. So again, we do have these little pullbacks that just keep us in an uptrend and then follow through to the upsides, keeping us in an uptrend. But we do seem to be losing a little bit of momentum here. So I think we're kind of flattening out here, maybe at the 5% level as well on the 10-year. So maybe creeping back up and getting above the 2-year, which would be reinverting or uninverting the curve, as they say. Transports, I mean, they took a big beating again this week. You can look at this daily chart, just ugly. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not a green candle in sight. So it's just really getting sold off here, probably getting into an area where might be considered, we're looking for a bottom there on the transports. But again, transport's sort of an indicator of economic activity, which is, going against what we're seeing with the GDP numbers and all the other data, employment data, consumer spending. But transports are not showing us that the economy is strong, which is not usual. And sometimes these correlations don't always match up. Sometimes they go the opposite direction. But you can see here we're kind of down into an area where we've had some support before on a weekly 200-day moving average. You can see here stochastics really oversold and possibly getting ready for at least a bounce there on the transports. So the Dow, again, we lost a key area of support here, just around 33,000. We really lost that on Monday. And then we tried to bounce back, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and then a big sell-off day on Friday on the Dow. Again, really getting into oversold conditions here. Again, you can see here on the weekly, kind of into an area where there was some prior support. Here's your next level of support right down here. So that's still a ways to go, somewhere around 31,800. So another 600 points on the Dow. The Qs, kind of an inside day on Friday after some big selling Wednesday and Thursday. And again, you can see here we did lose an area of support. There is some support probably down here, right around 340. But again, the markets are definitely rolling over. We've made a series of higher lows. Excuse me. We've made a series of lower highs. So a sell-off, a comeback, but not reaching this next high again. Same thing here. And trend is still to the downside, although we may get a bit of a bounce next week. And the SPY, I don't want to repeat myself, same story. Again, really oversold, lost an area of support, obviously, and headed lower from there. Again, SPY coming into an area where there's probably some support here. You can see should be some support here around 410. And the IWM, again, just probably the worst looking chart of all small caps. Again, this is kind of indicating that everything is terrible in the economy, which it isn't necessarily, but at least that's not what the numbers are telling us yet. But the market is a forward-looking indicator, so maybe a lot of people pricing in some negativity in the future here. But you can see this sort of 160 level. It should be some pretty significant support for the IWM, for the small cap index. Again, getting really oversold on stochastics. And the VIX, we actually finished lower on Friday, so that was kind of interesting. Even though we did open lower and then end higher on the day. But again, this 22 level. But you keep watching this. If we do get a big spike in the VIX, that could be a good indicator that the selling's done. But right now, it's we could be due for a bit of a bounce here. The dollar still looking pretty strong here. We did kind of look like we were topping, but again came back up, touched this high again. So it does seem like we are still in an uptrend, although it's starting to show some weakness there on the dollar. And that's the weekly. We are still in an uptrend, but this area right here obviously is why we're taking our time. We're stalling out at a prior high, so not surprising. We are getting sort of some topping looking action there for the time being. So I'll be watching this to see if we actually break and hold above this sort of 30 level on the dollar. Bitcoin, just you can see this monster run here. Friday we had this big breakout. I think if that's Friday, this chart's a little bit funky because it trades around the clock here. But all last week we were in the 34,500 to 34,000 level, and not a lot of volume on the weekend, obviously, but some huge volume days here. Again, Bitcoin, who knows? Maybe breaking out of this area of prior resistance. I don't know if people are looking at this as sort of the safety trade type thing, but that could be it. Anyway, let's take a look at some stocks we got on watch for the coming week. Lots of earnings that we can trade after earnings. So you can see here, Apple is my first one I was looking at. Again, I'm not trading this before the earnings report. I'll trade it after. Although I am considering trading it before because it is. I'm not sure if I'm going to break my rule on this. I'm still thinking about it. I don't think there's a lot of upside on Apple. We have lost an area of support here, as you can see, breaking down. We might bounce back up into this box here, but certainly this 170 level now has become, was a pretty critical area of support, and it was lost there, so could become resistance now. AMD, again, another stock that lost some area of support, came back down to this other, this other area where there was prior support. If you have to go way back here, but you can see here how we've bounced. So again, 100 now is sort of the area of now resistance. And again, AMD reports on Tuesday, so I won't be looking at trading that maybe till after earnings, and then we'll take a look at it. Amazon reported last week, had a nice run up here, and this is an opportunity here. There's a gap, 135. There's also this 132. So depending on how it trades early in the week, may look at selling some upside calls, assuming that it's not going to go back and retest this high anytime soon, given this situation in the market. But nice move up on Amazon after their earnings report. Gold's had a nice move. Actually, gold has done really well. I'll show a chart of that in a minute. What happens with the miners is they tend to trade more with the market. So if the market's selling off and gold is going up, the miners are going to lag. But I think gold's GDX is still a good place to be in after this pullback. And let's take a look at what gold is doing. You can see here the GDX, the miners aren't doing as they aren't really reflecting what gold is doing, and gold is breaking out here. Again, Bitcoin, gold, safety trade, whatever you want to call it. But gold is really starting to break out here, and I think the miners will follow if we do get some follow through on some bounce on the market here. JP Morgan, it's supposed to be the stalwart stock. It's come down it really dropped hard on Friday, and could be some potential for a call sale up here, or maybe see if it can find a bottom on this. But this really got oversold or sold off on Friday. Meta, again, another stock that reported last week, has some potential for here's your areas of resistance here. Here's your area of support right here. So again, an opportunity to trade in that range with options at this point. And NVIDIA is right at a critical level here, this 400 level. You can see here it almost broke through 400 on Thursday. Actually did break through 400. Came back up and held 400 here on Friday. But this 400 level is critical. If it loses this level, we could be coming down to at least this area of support here, which would be around the 370s, 375s. And there's a massive gap to fill here. I'd really doubt that it's going to fill that, but we've got NVIDIA coming up on earnings, but not till later in the month, November month, that is. Tesla again, earnings report really got taken to the woodshed here, and now it's trying to find some area of support, but big gap to fill. I mean, 240 is a level. It could be an area if it can try to get back up through there, but it's really going to take a lot of work for Tesla to get back to 240. 230 is going to be the first resistance level to get through on Tesla. And consumer discretionaries, I'm still watching this one, even though it did break down through this level. This was a key level that I missed shorting it, unfortunately. And but I'm still thinking if everybody thinks the consumer is going to weaken, that's an area that's going to be challenging. So that's it, everybody. So let's wrap it up here, October 28th. Let's see what we got coming up. You can see here all these levels that I'm showing here. They all violated prior support from the previous week here. So now we've had to set some new levels for support, and you can see we're all pretty close down to those levels as well, at least on the SPY and the IWM. As far as economic events go, we do have some stuff coming up this week. It's going to be interesting. We've got this home price index, Case-Shiller. We do have this ADP employment, the Fed's watching employment data. So that's coming up on Wednesday. And of course, we get the Fed rate hike decision at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Again, nobody expecting a rate hike or a rate drop. So it's just going to be steady as she goes. And of course, we've got the unemployment reports, which are coming out on Friday, and that'll give us again something to see how employment is coming along, and there'll be stuff on wages as well, which of course the Fed will be watching. As far as earnings go, here's what we got. We got a lot of interesting stuff still. We got McDonald's. And of course, we've got AMD on Tuesday. That'll be interesting. PayPal Wednesday morning, Airbnb, and of course, Apple is scheduled to report Thursday after the close. So lots of interesting stuff there. Anyway, that's it. Have a great rest of your weekend. As you know, 8 o'clock, we'll be starting our pre-market show on live on YouTube, and then, of course, trading the market open with our members. So hopefully we will see you there. Again, enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a happy Halloween.